Hey guys, up back with another video. This time we're gonna do my final classic pay-per-view review of the year for 2022. As you can see right in front of me, we had TNA Lockdown from 2005. So let's get this underway, shall we? First off, just want to shout out, rest in peace to Don West, who unfortunately passed away on Friday evening. I heard it, and yeah, it's kind of saddening to hear. I was already planning on doing this show, but yeah. So seeing the first thing I saw on the pay per view is Don West, and yeah, it was pretty heartbreaking as he was part of my childhood, as like growing up, especially like around this time in '05. So. Anyway, and then the Asylum years as well, like in 2004. So anyway, let's get this pay-per-view underway, shall we? Rest in peace, Don West. Jesus Christ, I keep saying Don Callis. Sorry, guys. Anyway, let's get this underway, shall we? We kicked off the show with a unfortunate tag team matchup of Chris Candido and Lance Hoyt taking on Sonny Siaki and Apollo. Unfortunately, the reason why I call this an unfortunate tag team match is because about a minute into the match, Chris Candido unfortunately breaks his leg in a very horrendous spot. Basically, it was a simple spot where Sonny Siaki did a drop kick, but as they were landing, his leg went underneath him, and he kind of landed a bit awkward on his leg, and it looked horrendous. So, yeah. And then, of course, Lance Hoyt had to do most of the work after that, as they got Candido out of there. And Lance Hoyt, this was kind of like Lance Hoyt's babyface turn, as he was a heel for most of his TNA run up to this point. The match itself, I can't really say too much about it because it was kind of overshadowed by the injury, kind of awkward thingy. They had the cameraman in the ring for the first match. I'm kind of happy that they didn't do it for the remainder of the matches because it just looked very awkward having the cameraman in the ring with them in the cage. But yeah, it was very unfortunate, and rest in peace to Chris Candido, who unfortunately would pass away not long after this from if I'm not mistaken, it was a communications from surgery or some kind of complication with the surgery or something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I'm sure someone would correct me in the comments. It is what it is. Yeah. So and of course after Apollo and Sonny Siaki win, the Naturals, who are Chris Candido's buddies, attack Lance Hoyt, and that's officially the babyface turn for Lance Hoyt. So yeah, pretty unfortunate opener for Lockdown 2005. Then we had the next match. We had the Natural Dustin Rhodes taking on the Team Canada's Bobby Roode in a Prince of Darkness 2 out of 3 falls match. So basically it's a 2 out of 3 falls match with if you get to the third fall, it's a blindfold match. They tried. It was an okay match. Bobby Roode and Dustin, they tried. They had an alright match. I just felt like the stipulations were very unnecessary. I understand trying something new for the first ever all steel cage pay-per-view, but I felt like having I don't really see what the point was of having a 2 out of 3 falls match between these two anyway, because I don't think the rivalry called for it. And then of course the blindfold match was just a bit silly. I'm not the biggest fan of blindfold matches. One of the biggest blindfold matches I remember when it comes to mind, especially with TNA, is the 2007 Lockdown with James Storm and Chris Harris, which was booed out the building. This was a bit silly. They kept it kind of short. They did the usual blindfold spots, and yeah, I didn't like this. I didn't like the blindfold spot, and I didn't like the best of 2 out of 3 falls. I just felt like it should have been a normal match. Dustin got the win, and Team Canada's cheating backfired. So yeah, it was what it was. I just didn't like the stipulation. I think the stipulation was very unnecessary. Anyway, next match we had the X Division Escape match, Fatal 4-Way. We had Shocker taking on Chris Sabin, taking on Sonjay Dutt, taking on Michael Shane / Matt Bentley. Because he was Michael Shane, but then he was Matt Bentley. He goes by different names. And in the X Division Escape match, which basically is the X Division Escape match is basically a elimination match until they get to the final two, and then it's escape the cage rules. It was alright. I didn't like the first portion of the match. The first third of the match. The first third of the match I didn't like, because they were doing the thing where two men would start and then the other two would be on the apron. And then in steel cage, I just don't like that thing of the two people standing on the apron. I much more prefer the fatal 4-way aspect where all four guys are in the ring, which they did for the second to third, the second and the third portion of the match, the final portions. And it got a lot better, and it came down to Shocker and Sabin, and they had a good exchange, and Shocker won. It was a pretty decent match. The second half, as I said, was better than the first, but yeah, it was what it was, and Shocker became the #1 contender. Next match, we had Jeff Hardy versus Raven in a table match. This was awesome. I like this match. Probably my second favorite match of the night. Yeah, it was a really good match. I love this era of Raven. I know I said that with Eddie Kingston yesterday, and Miro with the All Out review. But this era of Raven, the 2005, 2004, 2005, when he was trying to, he was going crazy about his destiny, about winning the world title. Raven has always been he's always been one of those guys I, kind of had my eye on as a really cool character. I really thought his character was awesome. And his match with Jeff Hardy was no different. It was typical Jeff Hardy spots where Jeff Hardy did the swan time off the cage and, missed Raven and went through the table. That didn't count because, you have to put your opponent through the table. And then, of course, it led to the ending where Jeff Hardy ends up putting Raven through a table with a leg drop off the top of the cage through 4 tables. So, yeah, it was a pretty decent spot. I liked the match, really good stuff, and it was really nice bloody brawl, and I really liked the Raven of Jeff Hardy match. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. Let's see what's next, right? Next match, we have the America's Most Wanted versus Team Canada. Another decent matchup here. They had a strap stipulation involved. It was typical heel stuff where they locked they locked Chris Harris out the cage for most of the match, and Chris Harris had to fight his way to get back into the cage, and James Storm took a beating in the meantime, but he never gave up, and then once he got back in the cage, it became 2-on-2, and it was decent stuff. And then of course the Team Canada tried to cheat many times. They had a good game plan, and pretty kind of lot, and then I like the ending where P.T. Williams tried to use the powder, and it ended up backfiring. It ended up in his own face, and he thought that Eric Young was one of the America's Most Wanted guys, and he just gave Eric Young a Canadian Destroyer, and that led to the downfall of Team Canada in this match. So yeah, pretty cool. And America's Most Wanted retained, and I thought it was pretty good stuff, pretty good match. Then we had the next match. We had Christopher Daniels taking on Elix Skipper, former teammates going at it for the X Division Championship. This was very disappointing for me. I thought I was expecting a lot better. Like, the match was fine, but I was expecting a lot better from the match because, this was the first time that these two were going to meet one-on-one since their breakup as a tag team in the 6 Sides of Steel against America's Most Wanted at Turning Point 2004 in December. So I was kind of disappointed that we got this Elix Skipper jump off the cage, but I felt like the match was just there. I didn't really care too much about it, and it's very unfortunate because this had the potential to be something really good, and it just ended up just being there. And I'm probably going to forget about it tomorrow. So not a memorable match, and unfortunately it didn't live up to the hype of what I imagined it to be. So that's probably my fault for having too many expectations for this match, but it is what it is sometimes, you know what I mean? Anyway, Christopher Daniels got the win and retained the X Division Championship, and we move on. Then we had the next match. We had the Lethal Lockdown matchup. We had Team Jarrett of Jeff Jarrett, Monty Brown, and the Outlaw, Kip James, whatever you want to fucking call him, Daddy Ass, taking on the team of Sean Waltman, DDP, and was supposed to be Kevin Nash, but it ends up being BG James because Kevin Nash had a staph infection. I didn't like this match. It just felt like Jarrett and his old time mates playing wrestling match. I didn't really care too much about it, and the storyline throughout the match was who will be Kevin Nash's replacement, and the replacement of Kevin Nash was BG James. And I understand what they were going for with like, oh my gosh, it's BG James, it's Billy Gunn's ex-partner, for the New Age Outlaws from the WWE, from the WF days in 1998, in 2005. I didn't really care too much about it. I don't really give a crap about the New Age Outlaws in 2005. I surely don't care about them in 2022. So, yeah, I didn't really care too much about this match, which is very unfortunate because it's a Lethal Lockdown and, you got weapons and that stuff. And usually these kind of matches are really good, but this was very disappointing for me. And, I didn't like it too much. Yeah. And Jarrett is the NWA World Champion. Just created bad memories and guitars and, it is what it is. That era, that time period. And I felt really bad for Monty Brown as well because I felt like Monty Brown around this time could have been a main eventer. Like I think he had a title shot against Jarrett like Final Resolution in 2005, and he could have took the title from him then, but Jarrett retained. And now, less than 2 months after that, he's just Jarrett's bodyguard. He's just Jarrett's buddy. And Monty Brown would never reach those heights again as the main event star because he was just Jarrett's buddy. Yeah, he would have title matches against like Christian Cage in like mid 2006, but he was never felt like the star because I felt like the ex-WWE guys came in and became the. I think Monty Brown was a victim of the ex-WWE guys, so it was what it was. I didn't like that match. Anyway, and of course they botched the finish as well. Like Sean Waltman got the win, but they actually botched the roll-up. They had to do it twice because they botched the spot. So yeah, it was one of the first bad Lethal Lockdown matches I've ever seen, and I won't be revisiting it again after this. So anyway, and then we had the main event. We had AJ Styles taking on the Abyss for the #1 contender. The winner will meet Jeff Jarrett at Hard Justice the next month after this. It was a great match, fantastic. Really liked this match. It lived up to that. It lived up. I remember loving this match when I first saw it, and I really loved this match when I saw it a couple of years ago. And it still lives up to the hype that I had for it all these years. Yeah, it was just a great, the big monster Abyss at his best, destroying AJ Styles and AJ Styles being the ultimate babyface, not giving up, and eventually taking down the monster. And it was a really good match. I really liked it. Really fun stuff, and it really pumped up this lockdown because I wasn't really feeling the last two matches after this, before this. But yeah, I really liked this match, and yeah, there you go, guys. Sorry for the lackluster ending there. I'm just a little bit. Just starting to get a bit tired, and yeah, I think I'm done for the year. Anyway, I'm going to get this pay-per-view a 7 out of 10. I was debating whether to give it a 6 or a 7. I think I'll give it a 7 because of that main event. I really love that. Really good main event. Really awesome main event. Can't say anything bad. Can't say nothing but positives about that main event. The rest of the card was a mixed bag. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Tell me in the comments what you think of the show, hey guys. I'm at a loss for words right now. Starting to get a bit tired, as I said. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it now, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching all my reviews this year. I'll see you again next year. Happy. If I don't see it, this is my last video of the year. Have a happy New Year, guys. I've said New Year so many times. Have a happy New Year, and I'll see you again in 2020. I'll see you all in 2023, and I'm out.